Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Smokes and Bakes. It has been a spell since I've done a cooking video. And tomorrow I'm going to be smoking a whole deer shoulder to make pulled deer, as you would with pulled pork or that what have you. That is what a deer shoulder looks like. Bone in, diggity, and just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. It's a few pounds of meat. You can see that, and anyone who works with wild meat, you will have deer hair, you will have some blood, you will have pieces that need to be cleaned off, and that's why I have the table all set up ahead of time. And I'm gonna got paper towels ripped up, I got plastic underneath so my surface stays nice and clean, and I'm just wanting to get into any gross parts, any loose hairs, brush them off, and I might do a little bit of trimming as well in terms of silver skin and whatnot, as you usually do with a piece of wild meat. But after the smoking comes the braising. So all the connective tissue, everything's really going to render down. I'm going to be using beef stock as my braising liquid. You can use beer and other things too, but essentially I'm just going to start with patting it down, and then I'm going to do some trimming up, and I do that before I put a binder and rub on. And I'm going to use mustard and then a rub from a local butcher that I go to. So we'll just get to cleaning it up first. Both sides, and you can kind of see on that one side there's a little bit of blood. That doesn't mean that's where it was shot. It wasn't, but there is some fat there, and after smoking and braising, you won't know that it's a piece of wild meat. But you want to trim off any extra grossness like that. Okay, you might not be able to tell, and you might, but I have removed a lot of the hard fat, silver skin, and that spot on the back where there was a bunch of blood and hard fat. Essentially, that does a couple of things. More of that stuff you get off. That's kind of the fat and sinew and tissue like that, connective tissue, where you get that gamey flavor from, not the meat. And removing as much of the hard fat, not everything, and not all the connective tissue, because you've got to have something holding your meat together. That'll allow the rub to penetrate, and that's gonna be the next step that I do. But you can see it looks a lot cleaner and trimmed. Yeah, it's got some knife wounds, but who cares? Nobody's perfect. And we're ready to get both the binder and the rub on it. And if it looks like I can't tell where the camera on my iPad is, I can't. So I might not always be looking at you, but you can see me. And that's why people tune in. Okay, so let's get that rub and binder on next. One last little bit of surgical work. And part of having your station ready, a surface that you can work on, also have the garbage close by. That way when you gotta throw stuff out, you don't have to move too far, which is especially important for me. Another thing that I did is I had plastic wrap underneath on top of the stainless steel of my island top. That allows me to roll the meat over, as you can see, without having to touch it, without having to get anything dirty. So I can flip it, keeps the surface clean. And you probably noticed that I have a glove only on one hand. And I do, and that's for one reason. This is my grabbing dirty things with glove, and this I can keep my hand clean for grabbing the mustard container, the rub container, and that way I don't get any of the blood or other dirty stuff on there. And then to get the deer meat back on there, I'm just basically unrolling the plastic a bit. And it's on the grate, or on the drying/cooling rack. So I've got it in a sheet pan that's got parchment paper underneath and then a rack on top, and it's going to sit in the oven like that overnight, which my wife just loves the smell that gives the entire fridge and freezer. And when you open the fridge door, of course, the kitchen smells like meat, which is great. But what that does, it's kind of like the process of dry brining. Even though I am putting a wet rub mustard on there this time, it just it helps with the building of a crust. Put on the mustard first and then the rub. And that way it sticks to the meat nicely, and it dries with that on, and it does a whole bunch of helpful shit like helping with your smoke absorption and your flavor penetrating into the meat, and just makes for a better finished product overall. And so now, always shake your mustard before you put it on, because you don't want water and shit coming out. And you're gonna be, it's a piece of wild meat and a piece of red meat. It can handle a lot of binder and a lot of rub, more than you would think. So you're just gonna get on a healthy amount and coat the whole thing. So here, hand stained clean, mustard on the outside. And I'll flip it over and do the same with the other side. But you can see I'm basically coating the whole thing like you would pulled pork or a brisket, just on a smaller scale. And the amount of vinegar and mustard, I think it helps tenderize the meat. It gives a great flavor and a nice odor. But yeah, you can see how liberally I've done it. Well, wait, conservatively. No, wait, no, not liberals. I don't like them. But just put a ton on there. And then when you're applying your rub, this one is Espresso Yourself, which is a coffee-based rub, obviously, from Miller's Meats here in town. And this stuff goes fantastic on brisket and red meat and any wild, deer's wild game. Always have my hand out to catch it from spilling over. I still spill some, but this minimizes it. And then you get super liberal with the amount of rub that you put on there. That helps build a crust, and it can handle the seasoning. There's sugar and salt and all kinds of other good stuff in here. But the more you put on, the more of a crust you get. Which is part of the goal of good smoking meat. I'll kind of hold it up so you can see. So it's a lot, like just coated, and that's what you want it to be. I'm going to flip it over, do the same with the other side, which I should have started with the bottom, but that's okay. I can always put on more. Repeat the process. Lots of mustard. Rub it all over the bottom. Make sure that's coated all over. Obviously you don't need to coat the knuckle that's sticking out. And then just put a liberal amount of the rub on this side too. Hand at the side just helps it from spilling over. And when I flip it back, because I started on the wrong side, I'll probably add a little bit more. But not much. You just want it to be completely coated. Look at that. That's a beautiful thing. And in the fridge it goes for the night, just like this, uncovered. We'll see you guys tomorrow. So it is a beautiful morning, around about 9 o'clock, next day after getting the shoulder ready. In the previous pic, you can see what it looks like after a night in the fridge. And now we're just getting the smoker going. It's set it to 225. And of course, most often you want to cook by IT or internal temperature or probe tender, depending on what you're doing. But I'm going to give the shoulder, I usually give it at least 3 hours of smoke. And for this type of cook, I just check the internal temp at the end of the braising. Right now, I'm just giving it that smoke flavor and that bark for the first 3, maybe 4 hours. And then I'll put it in the aluminum pan with some other goodies that I'll show you later. Enjoy the day. Okay, and the deer shoulder is in the smoker, and And one of the reasons I also like to put parchment paper under the grill is then any of the stuff that falls off the meat, I can just sprinkle it right back on the shoulder. And instead of putting it directly on the smoker grill grates, I just leave it on the rack that it's on, which keeps things clean and makes it nice and easy to lift. Okay, and what you see there is just after about 3 hours of smoking time. A little bit more than 3 hours. You can kind of see how it's getting a gorgeous color and the bark has started to set. So now we're going to bring it inside to foil cover it and braise it. Okay, I've pulled it out of the smoker and I've got my shoulder still on the rack and I've prepped the foil tray. I'm trying to get the best angle without spilling. I used one whole cut up onion. You can use two or a large white one if you have. And one container of beef broth. Poured it on the bottom. When you're braising, you don't have to completely submerge or cover your meat. But you want enough on the bottom so that you have a good base of braising liquid. And I'm just gonna pick up the shoulder, put it right on top. And you're gonna want a foil pan, or if you have an oval Dutch oven or a roaster, you can use that too. But you're gonna want something at least about 16 inches long, 10 inches wide. To put your deer shoulder in. And the other thing I'm gonna add is these pepperoncini peppers. Put a couple of those in right in the liquid. The vinegar and pepper gives a wonderful flavor. They're not too spicy. I'm a bit of a pussy when it comes to spice, so I can't handle too much. And just plop a whole bunch in. You can eat these after too, and just a little bit of the liquid in there too, because it's yummy. Okay, 2 more peppers. And then after that, you're gonna take some good solid foil and wrap this tightly and put it in a 300-degree oven. Probably about another 4 or 5 hours. And then we're gonna have a look, get an internal temp. And then after that, shred it and then let it rest an hour if you can before you serve it. Okay, this is finished, and now we're pulling my meat. well, I'm pulling my meat, nobody's helping me. Pulled it at an internal temp of 205, let it rest for a while, and it's coming apart pretty darn nicely. A beautiful bark and a great smoke ring. And my brother Kelly's gonna get this into tacos. The total cook time was probably about 7 or 8 hours. I pulled the bone out, no problem. And it just looks fantastic. We're gonna make some tacos out of this. It's coming apart with very, very little effort. Oop.